So if you ever watch a child involved in play, they are immersed in it. Like, you can call a name 3 or 4 times, they may not hear you because they get so involved.
I think young children can teach us to be happy and joyful and to appreciate the small things around us, the nature, the sound of birds that we're now hearing more than we did before.
I believe that kids today are much more intelligent than they were when I was younger, or even kids were 10 years ago, because they know how to use the tools that we have now to communicate and to keep keep current with things that are going on in the world. So I'm hopeful because of that.
Welcome to La Casa de Don Pedro's virtual celebration. Each year, La Casa de Don Pedro hosts an annual event called La Casa is Su Casa, where close to 200 supporters join together in the elegance of the New Jersey Performing Arts Center and pay tribute to the evening's esteemed honorees that reflect the event's theme. It's an opportunity to learn more about La Casa and the impact that it makes. This year, of course, La Casa had to do something a little different given today's circumstances. And I'm pleased to serve as your host. My name is Dr. Beverly Lynn, and I'm Chief Executive Officer of Programs for Parents.
Every year, I so look forward to this annual event held at the beautiful New Jersey Performing Arts Center. It gives us an opportunity to come together, to network, to socialize, to catch up on old times, and to learn about the great work and impact La Casa is having on the community. It is so unfortunate that we had to cancel this year's event. But fortunately for us, through the use of technology, we can still come together as a community. We greatly appreciate each of our sponsors and supporters of the La Casa es Su Casa event, and I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge them. Donnelly Construction, JP Morgan Chase & Company, M&T Bank, Prudential, PSC&G, and Valley Bank are our gold sponsors. The Maher Charitable Foundation is our silver sponsor. Bronze sponsors are Hispanic Federation, Santander, Clara Mass Medical Center, and North Beth Israel Medical Center with RWJ Barnabas Health, and Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, and Rutgers New Jersey Medical School. Friend sponsors, Mi Plata Law, LLC, PNC Bank, Rutgers University North, and Thornton Agency and Philadelphia Insurance Company. I would also like to thank individuals and businesses who have purchased our tickets and advertisements. And despite today's challenges, let's remind ourselves, we are resilient, we are not deterred, we are strong. And the best way to remember our resiliency is to look to our children.
Since La Casa was founded in 1972, providing quality early childhood education, it has been fundamental to our community. We started as daycare, but over the years, we were able to partner with Newark Public Schools Early Childhood Education, and it became free quality early childhood education for all.
After several attempts of trying to start infant toddler on our own, which proved to be fruitless, we decided, we were invited to work with Aponte, which was an organization, nonprofit group that was running daycare Head Start programs in San Antonio, to be part of a pilot program which ran for 4 years. It was an excellent program, had real hands-on experience both for ourselves, the parents, and a nursery for the children where parents could actually come in and participate with the children and execute the lessons learned that day. So it was very effective. Unfortunately, it was a pilot program, came to an end, and we continued it at a much lower level of funding with state funds, and held several graduating class. But again, it only proved that infant toddlers required a great deal of revenues. And over time, we had an opportunity, though, to re-engage in infant toddlers by virtue of the fact that the Head Start program made available opportunities for us not only to participate in the pre-K program, which is also, but also the infant toddler program. We now have some 80 kids and hope to get to 144 by September. This allows us to take 6-month-olds to 2.5-year-olds and provide daily educational and development services for them at the same time when we service their families.
The institution as a whole is actually rendering selfless service. This is not just a job. The quality of service they give to these children, you can see it's not about what they have to get for it, it's about who they are.
The center has been great. His teachers are awesome. Mr. Tasha and Ms. Cruz, they're awesome. Every day he comes home with something new, which is amazing.
We honor the Maher Charitable Foundation. The Maher Charitable Foundation is making significant investments in young children here in the city of Newark and throughout New Jersey. The foundation has invested both statewide advocacy for pre-kindergarten through the Pre-K Our Way campaign and in the construction of high-quality early childhood facilities. Led by Brian Maher, the foundation has also supported the work of the DC-based Bipartisan Policy Center, which is working with organizations across the country to make sure that high-quality early childhood facilities are a national priority. I would like to introduce to you Barbara Reisman, friend, colleague, longtime advocate, and early childhood expert, the foundation's senior advisor.
The Maher family has always been very charitable, and they supported a lot of schools in Jersey City and other cities around the port where their business was located. And the teachers in those schools told them that they could do so much more with the children in the schools if they got them earlier. So Brian Maher started to read the scientific data about the importance of brain development in young children. We know that children's brains develop most rapidly between the ages of birth and 3. And he also looked at the economic data that showed the impact of an investment in early childhood. $1 invested in early childhood returns at least 7 in later savings, improved graduation rates, more children going to college and working, children delaying having their own families till they're really ready to be parents. There are lots of good outcomes when you invest in young children, and he got very interested in that, and he's been doing that ever since, he and his family.
Together, we honor Dr. Robert Johnson. Dr. Johnson has been a leader in adolescent health in Greater Newark for the past several decades. Serving as Dean of both Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School and Robert Wood Johnson Medical School, Dr. Johnson's clinical experience and research focuses on adolescent physical and mental health, adolescent HIV, adolescent violence, adolescent sexuality, health equity, and family strengthening.
Originally, when I entered medical school at New Jersey Medical School, was in Jersey City at the time, I actually wanted to be a sports medicine specialist. And it wasn't until I was past 2 years of medical school when I spent a summer working at St. Michael's Hospital in Newark that I was introduced to childcare, and I was just intrigued by it. I loved it, loved the contact with children. So that led me to pediatrics. In those days, and that was about the late 60s, pediatrics ended at 12 years of age. And I decided to go into that field. It was only later on, once I'd actually graduated and began pediatric training, that I became more aware of the care of teenagers and young adults. And that then led me to this very new field called adolescent medicine. I think that the reason was that I began to become more aware of all the social issues that kids had, and I became more aware that those issues were more of a problem after 12 years of age, and that there were very few practitioners, physicians in particular, that address those issues. And so that led me to this field, which was very new at the time. There were only a couple of places in the area that had programs for adolescents and young adults, and I was fortunate to get training in one of them at NYU in Bellevue, in New York City.
Finally, we honored my dear friend, Samantha Lott-Velez. Samantha Lott-Velez is the Executive Director of Early Childhood for the Newark Board of Education. She has diverse experiences in early childhood education, including personal ones as a Head Start mom. This experience as a mother within the Head Start experience continues to guide her commitment to parent engagement within the education system. Ms. Lott-Velez has been a classroom teacher, supervisor of pre-kindergarten and instruction, and now as executive director, she leads the planning and implementation of early childhood education programs for almost 7,000 Newark children.
I chose to become an educator because I've always loved to teach. And when I was younger, I used to line up my dolls in my bedroom and teach them. And by elementary school, I would say around the age of 10, I was already serving as a junior teacher in my elementary school for the morning care and aftercare program. So teaching has been in my veins, and it fulfills me to see others learn new things. My specialty in early childhood, I believe, was specifically divine intervention. So, you know, as a young child, when you want to be a teacher, you don't necessarily know what age group you want to teach, but you just know that you want to teach. And so I think my specialty ended up being in early childhood. You know, that was God's choice for me. You know, I started off as a teen mom, and I wanted to learn more about, you know, my firstborn and being the best mom that I could possibly be. So I did all I can do to support his development. And so the best part about that work is that in learning and being a teacher in preschool, you know, learning about my child, I was also able to pour into other people's children.
So we have in our Head Start program currently preschool 343 children and 120 early Head Start program, including the prenatal months. Head Start program emphasizes on the whole child meaning to develop and enhance academics, social and emotional and physical development to have the child ready for school readiness for kindergarten and beyond in their successful life. And our programs are unique because we tailor to individual child's needs for infants and toddlers especially. Children learn through play with their toys and manipulatives. Children sing and draw, children dance. Most importantly, we concentrate on building a positive relationship between the child and the adult throughout the day by having conversations, by sharing a meal together, by sharing books, by singing and dancing outside together, to learn about ABCs, learn about colors and shapes, and to discuss with their families about how child has been progressing throughout the day.
At the end of the day, the staff is really the heart. They're the point of contact with the population. They're the ones that build the trust that allows us to be the go-to organization when someone says, how do we do something to help the most vulnerable? You look to La Casa, and I look to my staff to be able to deliver high quality programs with the heart that really speaks to caring.
I think young children can teach us more about the world than we understand or believe that they can. I think oftentimes as adults, we put limitations on children, but they're an open slate.
You know, the best part of my day is just coming in and seeing those kids. Even if I'm having, you know, not such of a good day, they pick me up.
Children remind us of what's important. They remind us not to take life for granted. They remind us of the wonderful thrills of life and how precious each day truly is.
Many years ago, we gave up a parking space and created a playground. And every morning when I sit at my desk, and in the afternoon, there are moments when different classrooms will go into a wasn't forming parking lot, but now a playground. And the joys of the children running around and screaming and hollering, just enjoying themselves, is one of the things that I think lifts my day every day, and I think all of us.
Prenatal for us, for La Casa, is a very important program, and the purpose is to assist these moms who may be going through difficulties in their lives, low income, sometimes maybe fatherless, sometimes not many people supporting them. So these are the prenatal moms that we like to support in many ways. So we provide home visits. Why? Why we go to home visits? Because we want to provide information about what is the good nutrition for mommies, what is the labor delivery, what is the breastfeeding, how to ensure smooth transition once the child is born into another level of learning, which is 0 to 3 early learning, early Head Start program.
The reasons I went into this field and specifically working with adolescents, and particularly adolescent males, is my desire to do something to help them prevent the problems that they face in life, whether it's either with the juvenile justice system or substance abuse or you know, all sorts of problems like jobs and unemployment. And so one of the things I have done is lots of research on what are the things that we can do to most effectively impact the lives of teenagers and young adults. And actually what we found is that it's in early childhood. So programs like La Casa, for example, are really critically important because they work with families to help families be more effective, to help parents become more strengthen them in their interactions with their children. And so the earlier we start with these interventions, especially early childhood education, the greater the benefit later on in life. So I wrote a book about this called Strength for Their Journey, talking to parents about how they can be stronger leaders and stronger role models for their children.
The foundation is invested in two major types of programs. One is policy advocacy, advocating for expansion of pre-K. New Jersey has a very high quality pre-K program that has returned great benefits to children and families, and those gains have been sustained for children. And we have supported Pre-K Our Way, which has advocated for expanding pre-K to all the children who are eligible for it in the state of New Jersey. And that's been very successful. Our governor has been very supportive of expanding preschool. And we also have helped to build facilities for early childhood programs in Newark and in Passaic. And we are now in the process of partnering with La Casa de Don Pedro and Clinton Hill Community Early Childhood Center to build an early childhood center that will have children from birth through 5 in a state-of-the-art early childhood center in the Clinton Hill neighborhood of Newark.
But our vision for the work is to make sure that every young person, from the moment that mom conceives, has access to high quality care. And that is the superintendent's vision, and that is my vision. The parent, families, hospitals, social service agencies in the community, all of us must be involved in making sure that the infant and toddler programs here in the city of Newark are best in class, because Newark's children deserve the best. There should be no type of agency or home where there's a young child that is experiencing extreme hardship, where they can't take care of that child the best way possible. And so part of my work now as an early childhood executive director, is making sure that everyone has access to high quality care for their young children from the moment that they're in the womb.
I see the potential that we have in infant toddler programs, and I would like to see us really fulfill the needs as I see them. Because the needs are not only that of the children, which I think we are addressing, but it's also the family. And so there's work to be done, I think, in terms of having programs that serve particularly the most vulnerable people that we serve, people who are working at low-paying jobs, people who have to work oftentimes more than one job or have to work extended hours. So ideally, I would love us to have a program that has extended hours that actually work, let's say, from 7 o'clock to 6:30 or 7 o'clock. The idea of having evening care for children in pre-K, infant toddlers, and weekend. Those are things that I think are critical.
So for the mission of La Casa for Early Childhood, what is it going to be? It is going to be to provide quality child development, school readiness programs for all children, and to become partners in children's success in school with their parents and families that encourage learning and wellness.
What comes to mind when I see a child or a baby, I think of my own children and my responsibility as a parent to ensure their safety, to ensure they get a great education, to ensure they grow and flourish. And really that's our responsibility, not just as a parent, but as a community, when we think about the broader community and the children within our community. How do we come together as a community to ensure their success?
We're recording this at the end of May, and there's a great deal of uncertainty as to how long we'll be engaged in this shutdown phase of the pandemic crisis. Our guesstimate, because we're not in charge, but we don't see us coming back into meaningful, active daily activity, even modified activity, until sometime in September. But the pandemic and the impact of the pandemic crisis will be lingering, I think, for many, many more months, clearly through December of this year and maybe into next year. Again, for those who are most vulnerable, this may be the beginning of another downward cycle or fall. And so the need for the work that La Casa does in all of its aspects will be continuing, and in some cases will be more critical and be accentuated. And so the need for being able to respond to that is going to be dependent on, again, I think, because of our dependency, on much of what government does. But for what government doesn't allow us to do, we turn to all of you who have been the supporters, who believe in the La Casa of this world, and that your donations, and we love that $5,000, $50,000 gift, but they're rare and in between, far and in between. But even the $25 that we can get, politicians have now found out that you can take that $25 contribution and make a lot of money to do a political campaign. We wish some of that money would come to our nonprofits and allow us to have the war chest that's going to be needed to deal with the needs that families are going to have moving forward.
I'm inspired by the commitment that organizations like La Casa de Don Pedro have had and continue to have to families and households in the community, their ability to respond to community needs, to anticipate community needs, and develop programs that help families and children and adults thrive in the neighborhood and continue to improve the neighborhoods that they're operating in. I'm also inspired by the organizing that they do to help adults in the community and children and young adults use their voices to and their power to improve conditions in the city and in the state so that we can all be a healthier, more productive and happier community.
I'm inspired because I can see every day that things get better, and that I can be involved in doing something to make that occur. It's also, I get inspired because I really enjoy what I'm doing. I think and even the administrative stuff and all the meetings I get to, I actually enjoy those too. Not as much as I enjoy talking to kids, but I'm inspired by the progress we're able to make. And having lived a very long time, I can see the differences that have occurred. And so I'm very hopeful for the future. And that makes me joyful.
But what inspires me the most about the work, I believe, is the future of this city. I love the city of Newark. You know, I've been a resident here for over 30 years. And, you know, many times my family members, they're like, why are you still living here? You don't need to be there. You should move on. Your children are, you know, in the midst of things that they shouldn't see. And for many years, I kept my children in the house because of that. But the reality is there's parts about the city that you have to actually live in the city to experience. And one of those things are the people in the community. We have some outstanding leaders in this community who love this community just as much as I do, if not more, because we have some that have been here for a really long time. And it's still going. This city is led by its people. Yeah. And because it's led by its people, we're going to be successful.
We will conclude this virtual event with an original song and performance by Newark's very own Janetza Miranda, who also happens to be a La Casa kid.
Hola a toda mi gente en la Casa de Don Pedro. Hello to my family at la Casa de Don Pedro. Mi nombre es Janetza Miranda, and it is an honor and a pleasure to sing for you today. Un honor y un placer cantar por todos ustedes. Muchísimas gracias a la Casa de Don Pedro por todos los programas que ustedes nos dan a nosotros y nos ayudan a darnos el poder de estar con mucho ánimo para nuestros vecindarios. I want to give a big thank you to everyone at La Casa de Don Pedro for consistently giving us programs that help revitalize our community and give us the courage we need to keep on going forward. Thank you so much, La Casa. I love you. Muchas gracias, La Casa. Te quiero mucho. rosas, hay bonitas rosas sin espinas, pa' que no te picas mi corazón, mi corazón. Si te doy mi razón, prométeme, ay, prométeme regalarme nacido en mi tierra, con el pincel extranjero. Pintor que sigues el rumbo de tantos pintores viejos. Aunque la Virgen sea blanca, píntame angelitos negros que también se van al cielo. Todos los negritos buenos. Si pintas con amor, ¿por qué desprecias su color? Si sabes que en el cielo también nos quiere Dios. Pintor de santos en mi alcoba, si tienes alma en el cuerpo, porque al pintar tus cuadros